Due to the nature of Caleb Mosberg's job, he gets the blessing of working with students every day and working on projects with students, and he does an amazing job. Caleb, we thank you for that. And he's brought two of our brightest students in today, and I'm going to turn it over to Caleb Mosberg to introduce the program.
I appreciate it, and I will attest to and agree with. I am very blessed to work with a bunch of amazing students, and these are just two of the many that we do have. Colton Booty and Allison Stewart are members of our Northwestern Scholar Ambassador Program, leadership program that we have for continuing students after their first year. And but they are also members of President Cunningham's PLC class in the fall of 2016. 2016-17 year, so they've got a lot of leadership experience, and they bring a lot of knowledge to the event that I'm going to help them present today. And so the thing I wanted to talk with this group today on, and I do have some printouts because we tried to set this up on the screen and it didn't work out. So I think I've got 12 printout here. 12, so we may have to share a little bit, so sorry about that. But what John is going to be passing out is some information on what the Northwestern Scholar Ambassador Group is calling Camp Ranger. For many schools across the state, many in the region, and a lot across the country, they are developing programs to help associate students with the college campus and with the community before they ever show up to campus for the first time as freshmen. So one of the things that we look at, and my job entails, is how do we work with our students, adapt them to the campus, but also how do we tie them into this community and the family atmosphere that we have even outside of the curbs of Northwestern. This is a very family atmosphere on campus, but we also know, and one of the reasons why, and I've mentioned it before, why my wife and I both have said this is where we want to be, this is where we want to raise our family. It's just because the family nature that we have in this community. And so with that, our students, and one student who is not here today that could be with us, Shaylin Farrington, from my hometown of Beaver, Oklahoma, was kind of instrumental in starting the conversation of how do we develop a program to help these students associate themselves to campus and to the community. And so they've developed this concept of Camp Ranger, and I know Colton and Allison here and Shaylin and a few others have developed this plan, and I think it's a great thing that we're trying to do. I think from a business standpoint in this community, how we can get these students in the businesses and for them to know where these things are. For instance, one of the examples that I think has been brought up before is a junior in college say, I didn't know that there was Jack and Jill's at Holders, and what have I been missing out on for 2 years? So those types of things that we can get them in the doors. And so even if as I was getting what little hair I do have cut, mentioning to them about getting our students into those businesses and have that there. And she said you'd be surprised how many moms are calling for their sons to get hair appointments. So if we can get them tied into some of these places, I think that's part of what we're trying to do here. So I'm going to turn it over to Colton and Allison and let them kind of talk a little bit more about the program. So.
Well, like he said, I don't want to steal all the credit here. This is definitely Shaylin's deal. I mean, she led it and she's kind of been the workhorse for it. But she's going to clinicals for nursing school, so she asked us to present it for her. If you look on your paper here, we weren't able to get it on the PowerPoint. The second one where it says the schedule kind of just lays out how it's going to go Thursday, Friday, Saturday, so it's kind of on the end of the week where maybe not right in the middle of the week where kids might have things going on throughout the summer. 5 to 5:30 check-in, welcome, kind of get everyone introduced, get them in their dorms. Then Friday they'll wake up, have breakfast. They'll go to their small groups, number 1 and number 2 earlier on in the morning. They'll go to lunch. Then they'll go to the small groups 3 and 4, kind of later on in the evening. At that point, they'll kind of hang out and have lawn games, and then have dinner and movie at Rialto. What next? Talk about Saturday.
Yeah. Then on Saturday, they're going to wake up again, obviously. They're going to have breakfast, and then we're going to take them to the caverns, which is kind of a neat atmosphere for them to be in, and then they're going to have checkout later in the noon.
kind of towards the end there on Friday that says dorm hangout. I think that's very important because that's kind of where the kids can sit down as a group and not necessarily have someone, watch them or hanging out. And that's kind of where they can talk and reflect on how their day went, things they like, things that, someone might have picked up on that another kid didn't, and just almost teach each other, more things about Alva, which I think is important.
Then they're gonna, on the next page, it goes into the small groups, and after we figured out the schedule, we kind of had to figure out what they're gonna do in the small group sessions. And so you'll see small group number 1 is student IDs and decals, and then we're gonna do goal setting because at Northwestern it's kind of important you get with your advisor, you set goals, but here they're already gonna have a plan, kind of know what they want to do when they come to Northwestern.
I'll touch on that real fast. So I think that's pretty important to get your student ID and parking decal out of the road in the summer. I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever been in student services on that first day, but it's a madhouse trying to get everything done, and the line's forever, and if you're waiting to get to a class, I think it's just great, especially for incoming freshmen, to have that done and out of the road. It's not on their plate worrying about it. Sophomores, juniors, it's not that big of a deal. They're kind of learning the ropes. They've kind of got it down now so they can, avoid the crowds, I guess. All right, kind of the second small group, like I said, number 2, kind of hang out on the square. Kind of get to know you guys. I mean, you guys are big standing points in the community, and they get to know your businesses, which can definitely help you guys in the long run. So like I said, tour businesses, possibly some scholarship drawings, kind of see how everything works out. And like you were saying, like ice cream and drinks at Holders, that's a pretty big deal. I mean, my deal is a cherry limeade, so definitely introduce some people to that. I'm going to do number 3.
Well, I'm going to touch on 2. And not only that, but like the community here in Alva is so supportive of Northwestern, and we're so happy to have that community. I know myself, I've met several community members who have given me foundation scholarships, which is very beneficial to students. And, it's kind of going to be nice to recognize a face in the community, oh, they helped me out in college. So it's just kind of an interesting point to get to know people that way.
Well, yeah, just in that aspect. I mean, look across the room. I mean, I see a Ranger hat over there. Dr. Smith rarely misses a game to yell at the referees, so. No, I'm just kidding with you. But, you guys here, I mean, you guys are very supportive, and I think that's huge, especially in the college community. You want to be backed by the community. No, I apologize for that. Yeah. Well, when my dad are sitting in front of you, don't make a bad call or something. My dad's like, "Oh, Smith must have missed that one." You want to do the transition to tradition? Oh yeah, go for it.
All right, and then number 3 for the small groups, we have a town scavenger hunt, which I know they kind of do in the PLC, which I think some of the idea came from. But I mean, it's just such a great way to get the students out and actually explore Alva. The prize for the small group who does the best, kind of to set some competition there, I guess.
Yeah, another deal on that scavenger hunt. Like I said, that gets them out and sees the community. From what I've witnessed from being at school, the kids that are miserable are the ones that just go to class and go back to their dorms and sit there. They don't go out and see anything. And Northwestern definitely has plenty of opportunities for them to get out. But I feel like if they see the community, go watch a movie, do something, get out. Don't just confine yourself. I mean, I think that's a big problem why some kids don't have as much fun as others in college.
And then number 4 there is the transition to tradition. And Northwestern has some cool history behind it, and I think it's kind of important for you to know where you're going to school at and know how Northwestern came to be. So that's really cool. And also the fight song, which I've kind of met some students who don't really know the fight song. For me, it's always just been stand up, go along to it. So that's kind of an inspiration to do. And then they get a shirt to wear on Saturday.
It also touches here, the only F's you need in college, which then it goes on here, and it's family, fight song, and forever. And we've kind of talked about family, but Northwestern really is. I mean, they're here to help you. You're not just on your own, and I think that's one thing that we don't get out to parents as much. Northwestern's the only college I've been to So I know how it is. I haven't necessarily witnessed other schools, but I know Northwestern's here to help you. Not only the faculty and teachers, but the community members. You guys, just the movie theater. You get a couple dollars off to go there. I know there's other organizations that do things like that. That's one I knew off the top of my head.
So the goal of the camp is really to get students to bond and kind of buy into Northwestern and the atmosphere, also while trying to get them to be successful here, creating goals and everything. So you want to go into the class?
Yeah, if you guys look on down that page, it kind of shows you the cost. And, our total is 115, and there it kind of just shows you the draw up of where that number came from. You got your dorms, which, that's kind of self-explanatory, why you need that, meals, movie, and caverns. To me, that's pretty much the bare essential. That's cutting the cost pretty well.
And on that next slide, you'll kind of see some comparisons we've done with other universities. So, ours is pretty, it's not too expensive for a student to afford.
Yeah, that just kind of gives you a rundown of some other schools that have the same idea, like OUS, Camp Crimson, Camp Cowboy for OSU. Those are the ones I've just heard of. I personally haven't heard of the other three. But, you look at our price compared to theirs, pretty good. As long as we can stay under Southwestern's, I think we're all right.
This is what it pays to be less.
Yeah, but Caleb and I were actually talking about that, and he was kind of showing me, the breakdown financially of it, and there's no need to charge $200 for it. That 115, that's pretty well. Even if you do another day, we were talking it'd be like another $30, another $30. So really don't know where they're getting the 200. Just trying to make money, I guess. Why is it important?
Yeah, sure. And for us, we wanted to realize why it is so important for a student, why we wanted to do it in the first place. And it's for the student to adapt faster to the atmosphere. It kind of can be hard to transition to college. You're kind of living on your own, you're getting out there. You need to learn how to make friends and meet new people, provide for yourself. And you get to know the campus. That way you're not, don't know what building is which, trying to find your class early that Monday morning and you just are panicky. You get better acquainted with Alva, as we've talked about. You just get to learn the community. You get to realize where everything is at. Just make your time here easier. Just that transition is kind of important for us.
Yeah, two big positives, one for the students and then one for, the community and teachers wise. But, the kids, like I said, adapted fast. They know the campus, they know the community. They're coming here with a step ahead of everyone else that didn't come to this camp. And, first time freshman, it is nerve-wracking. You're away from your parents. You're kind of on your own for the first time. You're taking care of a lot of your business to yourself and needed a little help. And so this is kind of a way to get you familiar and maybe take a little stress off your shoulder. So that's kind of the big deal for the students. As far as teachers, and for the retention, that's a big deal there. And the opportunity to make an impact and the community involvement. Got anything else? All right, that's kind of our spill, so I appreciate you guys for listening.
I do want to tell the group, these two, you talk about not only some exceptional students, but these are people that are willing to stand up and on short notice had said, hey, would you want to go present this? And they said yes. So we've had quite a few of those occasions, and we've had many of our students step up and say, yeah, I'm willing to do it because we are leaders, and these are two great examples of that. So I think the biggest thing with this program that we look at, it is student led. As I've told them, I'm gonna help them with the planning of this program, but this is going to be student led. These are going to be gained from mentors above them and leaders who can kind of give them the insight on which instructors are going to be better to take, or what time should this happen, or the cafeteria when you show up. So a lot of things that they have insight on that are going to be helpful to our incoming students. So they talk about ways to help these students adapt to campus. And we've got a great group that can do that. So, but the other piece that I do want to mention is we talk about the cost and the $115 per student. not only is that below what everybody else is, and if you look at that chart, you see UCO, well, they make them pay $99 as a part of their regular orientation in August. So there's that. We have orientation right before school starts, so they add additional fees. We understand the cost of higher ed is it's expensive. No matter where you look, it is expensive. So those costs, keeping it as low as we possibly can, but still provide the opportunity for these students is a top priority for us. So if there's any interest in assisting with scholarships to help pay for maybe one or two, or helping us to lower the cost per student for this, our expectation is, we could see anywhere from 10 to 50 students have interest in doing this. And as our recruiters are out on the road, going to have information, handing it out to each of these kids that are looking to come here, which seems to be a big number at this point. I don't want to jinx this at this point, but it seems to be good. So we're looking at positive things coming up. So this is just part of that moving forward. So yes, Troy.
Do you provide transportation, or do the kids provide transportation, like from campus to downtown or to the caverns or that sort of thing?
We're looking at trying to provide the transportation depending on the size of the group, is what we're looking at. So right now, with this being the first time of this being planned and done, if we have 15, 20, 30 people, we're going to be able to transport that number. If we hit 100, which would be great, but we're looking, those things are going to have to be planned out a little bit later. So.
Yeah, like Kevin and I were talking about that, I asked him, I said, well, do you think it's going to really take off? He said, I don't know, we're kind of just playing it by ear. But you got to start somewhere. All these they got a good foundation underneath. They've been doing it for years. Why not start now and get the foundation underneath it and just see what happens the first couple of years, and then hopefully eventually it'll really take off.
But I think the other point to really take from this too is how we get students to walk in your businesses. Walk in the businesses within this community. So if any of you or of others who would be interested in this, we're gonna talk to Rotary as well on March 1st, I think, and visit with them about it. But how we walk them into the businesses, if we can get a list of those who are interested, we want to do that. So we're kind of in the still the planning phases of this, but I think it's going to be a big thing for not only Northwestern but the community as well. So, any other questions?
Thank you, guys.